During the 4.7 livestream, we got a teaser trailer for Natlan, and the response wasn't what I was expecting. Me personally, I was confused for a second, but then as the music set in and I rewatched the trailer for this video, I got really excited for the next region. But there were people who were genuinely upset about the reveal of Natlan because it was colorful, I assume, at least based on what I've seen. Genshin has always been colorful, so I don't get the sudden switch. While Natlan might be the most colorful of the regions, Genshin's aesthetics has always been bright, vibrant, and colorful with a dark story. That is to be expected. The main argument is, it's a nation of war, shouldn't it look ravaged? And while I understand that, Inazuma was going through a civil war and it didn't look ravaged at all. This was a min-long teaser for Natlan, not even a full trailer. This is obviously not the whole entire region. I understand being shocked, maybe even confused, but angry is just strange to me. Don't even get me started on how some people's arguments felt kind of racially motivated, going on about how it's a nation of war based on Latin America and Africa, so why is it colorful? What do you think those countries look like exactly? Do you really believe Africa and Latin America look like the embodiment of hell? While not everyone was being like this, obviously, it was a noticeable amount of people. So, in this video, I will try to explain to the best of my abilities why Natlan is so colorful. If I make any mistakes, feel free to correct me and even add your own opinions or knowledge on the matter in the comment section below. Subscribe and let's get started. From what we know about Natlan, it seems mostly based on Latin America with some nods towards African culture, which are some of the most colorful cultures in the world. Currently editing this in the middle of the night, so if I sound like I'm whispering, that's probably why. Anyways, I have more to add. Have y'all watched Coco, the Disney movie? It is basically a movie about a festival called the Day of the Dead Festival, which is celebrated in Mexican culture. Think back to how colorful that movie was, despite how sad it also was. That, in my opinion, is good visual representation of how colorful Latin America culture is. I'm not from that side of the world, so maybe I'm wrong, but to me, it feels like it does a good job representing the colorfulness of those cultures. So if you can't visualize it, think back on Coco. Or just look for pictures about Latin American culture and you will see very quickly that they're very colorful in the way they dress, and everything about the culture is very colorful. I'll put up some pictures, don't worry. Just because the media you consume paints these regions as poor and dirty doesn't mean that's how they are in reality. I am actually quite pleased with MiHoYo for not going the stereotypical route. While I am sure there are parts of Natlan that fit the assumption that people have based on it being a nation of war, I am glad that this teaser isn't painting Natlan in a bad and uninhabitable light, because that tends to be the case when these cultures are presented in media, and I am praying HoYoverse doesn't go the same route. To sort of explain everything I know, I will be discussing three main things in this video: the trailer itself, what NPCs have to say about Natlan, though very limited, and the in-game lore and descriptions. Analyzing the trailer. After rewatching the trailer a few times, these are some of the things I was able to pick up on. First of all, the name Saurian, which is what the creatures are called, means relating to or resembling a lizard. It also means belonging to a suborder of reptiles called Saurians, which is an older classification of crocodiles, lizards, and various extinct forms of dinosaurs, which is very apparent from the three designs we have seen so far. Based on the trailer, it seems we'll be getting 6 of them, and these are just the first 3/4, because there was that one bird in the trailer that they didn't really focus on, but I'm not sure if it's just a bird or an actual saurian, so 3 kind of 4-ish. So we will, potentially, this isn't confirmed by the way, but we may have 6 different types of biomes or environments in each saurian will help us explore each biome more easily, potentially, hopefully, I don't know. I'm also expecting these mechanics to be limited to Natlan, kind of how like diving is limited to Fontaine. I can understand making diving limited to Fontaine because if they were to add diving everywhere else, they would also have to add areas for us to probably explore. But I kind of want Natlan's mechanics to be applicable anywhere else because they don't have to add new content to the game to cater for the new mechanics. It's not like diving where it comes with a new area. It's just movement mechanics, you know? I want the Natlan mechanics to be like applicable outside of Natlan, but I doubt they will be. Looking at the environment in the trailer, there seems to be a lot of diversity in the biomes, a lot of canyons and some trees that I believe are the baobab trees native to Africa, Madagascar, and some parts of Australia. The tree I am talking about are the really tall ones that you see during the green saurians part of the trailer, and you can also spot some in the canyon at the end of the trailer. Natlan seems to be the most environmentally diverse region we have, which fits with the cultures they are taking most of their inspiration from. There's also a lot of graffiti in the environments, which could be a sign of a very artistic and colorful culture, which is again in line with Latin America and African cultures. I really am very excited for miHoYo to represent these cultures, hopefully properly in Natlan. Most of these cultures tend to get a bad light when they're represented in media, especially fantasy media. So I'm hoping they don't go the stereotypically bad route. I am not the most diverse in music, but based on what I have found, the instruments being used are from West African culture. Hoyoverse is well known for using culturally accurate instruments in their musical performances, so we might see some of these flutes during the 5.0 livestream for the introduction of Natlan. I personally cannot wait to hear the music. Based solely on the thing we've seen on the trailer, based solely on the small part we've heard in the trailer, I can already tell this is going to be really good. NPC descriptions. Our information about Natlan pre-Fontaine was close to zero, but ever since Fontaine's release, while still very limited with the information, we have had some NPCs reference Natlan. The most recent one is Ranjit in the specially shaped Saurian search event. When we mentioned that we haven't met anyone from Natlan on our journey, Ranjit says that people from Natlan have reservations about leaving their region. While he doesn't know much about their rules and taboos, he doubts it's because of the unfamiliar environment, which might imply that the people from Natlan adapt pretty quickly to new things or are a lot more open-minded than we previously thought. He speaks very fondly of his time in Natlan and the people he has met. While Natlan is titled the Nation of War, I doubt the entire nation is engulfed in war. Honestly, it might not even be the type of war we are used to or are thinking about. The other two NPCs that have mentioned Natlan are Aikawa Suzume, who is an NPC that runs Aisa Bathhouse in Inazuma. He opened the bathhouse after visiting the volcanic hot springs of Natlan and experiencing the healing properties. He wanted to share that feeling with his fellow everyday Inazumans. And the next NPC is Mikawa Akane, who is an NPC that runs Royal Hot Springs in Inazuma, basically like Aikawa, but her hot springs are for rich people. Since Inazuma has no natural hot springs, all of the hot springs in Inazuma are man-made, inspired by the ones in Natlan. Based on these few accounts, we can sort of surmise that the whole region isn't ravaged by war, and the quality of living there is obviously good. Honestly, even if you didn't know anything about Natlan, getting upset over a 1-minute trailer for a region that is coming out in like 2.5 months is wild to me. Some people in this community have a habit of making things up in their head and then getting upset over their own assumptions before the thing is even out yet, and it's honestly kind of tiring to see. Loud and proud? Nah, more like loud and wrong. Like seriously, how are you going to be this upset over a 1-minute trailer of a region that's not even out yet? It's not even about Natlan at this point, it's just the assumption that something is going to be bad because of a small sneak peek. Wait until it comes out, then criticize it. miHoYo seems to be keeping information about Natlan pretty tightly sealed up. I haven't been bombarded by unwanted leaks in a while, so I'm hoping nothing gets leaked until like we get more official Natlan content. Or if something is going to get leaked, it's just like, I don't know, character banners or something. So I guess we'll just have to wait, and I genuinely cannot wait. Region releases in Genshin tend to be a very hyped moment during the community. It also tends to be the most positive moment in the community because there's a lot of new things. In-game lore. The only in-game references I could find to Natlan was in the talking stick description. The talking stick is a 4-star claymore that you can obtain from the battle pass. In the talking stick description, we are told about a man named Tenoch. Sorry if I butchered his name. Who wanted to unite the 6 tribes of Natlan to cease the fighting among tribes and bring about peace to the nation. He goes around convincing each tribe leader to join him, and in the description, the tribe leader is usually presented with their Saurian companion with little to no description of said Saurian, only their name. However, the last tribe leader named Tupac, yes, like the singer, isn't shown with his Saurian companion, but we can still assume that there will be 6 Saurians based on the trailer. Due to the lack of physical descriptions of these Saurians in the weapon description, it would be hard to link the names to the Saurians that we saw in the trailer, and since I am more of a character lore kind of person, my knowledge of things that are not pertaining to characters tends to be much less, but there is a Reddit post that I think talks about this in better detail. They have tried to match the names of the Saurians in the trailer with the little info we have. There's even an infographic. They said not to repost, so I won't be showing it in the video, but I will link it in the description below. You should all really check it out. It was quite well made, and I believe may help understanding the Saurians better. Nothing is confirmed yet, so this is still mostly speculative, so don't take the information you see at like 100% face value. Though the Archon quest isn't out yet, and we don't really know what the Archon quest will entail, but imagine in the Archon quest, we take on the role of Tenoch and go around trying to reunite the tribes once again. Each act could be spent with each tribe, giving us 6 acts for the Archon quest. I want Natlan to not only be longer, but also better written than Fontaine. I did enjoy Fontaine, I just want them to continue improving the writing. 6 acts, sometimes MiHoYo tries to shove all of their Archon quests or Trailblaze missions into just 3 updates, which sometimes it works. Other times it just feels like they're shoving too many information into 1 act, and it gets kind of exhausting to go through. So I'm hoping either they make the acts longer by like making, instead of like it stops at like version 0.2, it stops like version 0.3. Either make them longer, like longer updates, or better dialogue, less fluff. In conclusion, when it comes to the music, environment, architecture, world building, and everything that isn't actual playable characters, I have faith that they will do a spectacular job. MiHoYo rarely disappoints when it comes to those things, and the dedication they have to representing cultures through their game is honestly the reason I have continued playing this for so long. But when it comes to actual representation in playable characters, specifically through skin tone, I am a little less confident in them. When the Pyro Archon gets strip marketed, and if she isn't of a darker complexion, people will be mad, maybe for a week or two. And when she does come out and is meta breaking, everyone will wish for her, kind of like what happened with Nahida. Hated when drip marketed, but loved when released. I think even Raiden had this treatment. Well, I don't think I'll be upset because I don't really care. I understand the want to have your culture properly represented to the media you consume. But sadly, MiHoYo just doesn't seem like they want to be that kind of company. If you are a person of color, but on the lighter side, there is a high chance of you getting proper representation in HoYoverse games, because they tend to do those relatively well. But if you aren't, I wouldn't hold my breath. If that bothers you, there is a gacha game that I believe does people of color representation better than most other gacha games that I have personally played, and that is Reverse 1999. This video is obviously not sponsored, it's just me talking about a game I enjoy. The voice acting is quite diverse, most diverse English voice acting I have ever experienced in a gacha game, and the characters aren't just different shades of eggshell white. We even have a playable dog character that is the equivalent of a 5-star. There's a lot of diversity, not just through voice acting, but also design, and the story is quite intriguing as well. While the leveling up of characters can be sort of grindy at times, I think it's worth it. So if representation through skin color is quite important to you, maybe check out Reverse 1999. It has a lot to offer, and I don't think you'd be disappointed. Don't get me wrong, I'm still very excited for Natlan, and I will play through it regardless of what skin tone they give the playable characters. Mainly because I don't really play this game for skin tone representation, but also I think it's good to acknowledge these issues and kind of give everyone a heads up so we don't have this whole Sumeru situation again, where despite how good Sumeru was, the first few days, maybe even a week or two, it was just people complaining about one thing or the other. I doubt this video is going to do much, but I said my piece. I hope Natlan has a successful launch. Tell me your thoughts on Natlan, and if I missed anything, share it with me in the comment sections below. That's all I have for today. Please subscribe, and see you whenever.